Hello, everybody. Larry here. On Facebook Live art class. I hope some of you will join me. I don't see anyone showing up yet. Well, Happy New Year. Hope everyone had a good visit with family or did something fun over the weekend. It's a new year, it's a new day, and I'm glad to be here. I think what I was thinking about this, I think that would be good to do something a little more proactive when we're on our own time, that we can spend time to do a drawing and do some artwork on our own. And today I wanted to encourage everyone to start using their sketchbook. I am guilty of not spending more time with the sketchbook. But today we are going to try and fill this sketchbook. I'm going to do a few drawings on here and maybe add a few here, just to get an idea of how we can do this. So let's get started. And I think sketchbooks are just so much fun to do. They give you an opportunity to play with ideals and just have fun. Really, I think the first thing we're going to do is to draw from life, and if you life meaning that you could draw your hands, you could draw your fingers, you could draw. There's a fishing pole sitting over here. You could draw a fishing pole. But you look around your room, look around where you're at. You could draw your phone. A lot of people draw phones. You got all your apps here, and you could kind of draw from that. You could draw a picture of a friend. You could draw. There's a lot of pictures on your phone that you could draw from. I have pictures of my dad, so I could draw him with his hat or something. That's the kind of a fun picture. It was his birthday. So if I wanted to draw a picture of him, I could do this too. So what I want to do is just encourage everyone to start drawing from life and photographs and whatever else you have. So what I'm going to do is kind of draw a, let's see. For those of you who missed, we did this last year. Did some fun things for 2021. Happy New Year, 2021. Happy New Year, and then goodbye 2020, and hello 2021, and that was fun. So, and we did with color and markers, and just try to use some of the shapes that we talked about, the circle, the sphere. Just try to keep that in mind. Try to keep basic elements in mind. But at the same time, we still want to have fun. We want to enjoy what we do. We don't want to make it like it's not perfect or it just takes a long time to do. And a lot of times we'll be, waiting. A lot of times we're waiting now. We're just waiting around. Maybe you're taking a bus, or you're waiting at the doctor's office, or you're sitting in your car waiting for your, somebody to come out of the store because they went shopping. They want, you just want to sit in the car and just kind of have this around with you. Just kind of carry it around just as a fun thing. You could be sitting at a park or something, and see a tree that you like, or pine cones that are laying on the ground, or a squirrel running up and down the tree. Whatever, clouds that look kind of shape of a animal or something. So you can just sit there and draw what you feel comes to mind. what I'm trying to do is trying to connect you, and like I try to do is connect what I see around me and what's in my hand on paper. Um, because we don't really, I heard this one guy saying that sometimes we see a tree, but we don't really see a tree because we got to go around it. But we don't really look at the tree because we're too busy just walking past it. You know, like they say, stop and smell the roses. This one, I'm saying, stop and draw a tree. You know, so you can notice a lot more about what's around you, and you become more aware of what light and shadow, and we talked about perspective. How you can see the top of something when it's below you, a box is below you, and then if you look, hold the box above you, you can see what's underneath, and the angle of it, the angle of the lines going different ways. So, so we can start observing a little bit more when you start drawing more, and then a lot of times the sketch pad will actually help you think about those things. Just kind of keep that in mind. So what I want to do is just have fun. I'm just going to draw this little thing here and outline it. And that way I could draw it and have you guys look at it. So I'll do that. And then draw these. I know I got a late start. I sent email out late. I apologize for that. And so this is your sketch pad. So what I thought about doing was just drawing something like my hand. We'll start off with drawing my hand. So if I use my hand, you could even do this if you want. If you want to draw your hand and just trace it, just have fun. So you draw the shape of it. And this is always fun. Let's see who's coming on. Recording. Hey, you made it. Sorry for the late notice.
I'm sorry I was late.
That's okay. I was talking earlier about just so this and this, what we're gonna do today, we're gonna use our sketch pads. So bring your sketch pad out, and we're gonna try and start using this more often. We're gonna try to make it a daily thing. So for your homework, I'm gonna give this to you guys, who's ever watching, to start using your sketch pad every day and draw something. Yeah, draw. Like I said, you can draw. The first thing I talked about was to draw from life, and life would be like from something from what's around you. You know, you could draw whatever you have that's around you. You could draw your foot. You could draw your shoe. You could draw the wall. Like behind you, you have picture frames. You know, you could actually practice how to spell the word family behind you. Just kind of sketch it out and do it in a perspective. And then the other option is to draw from photographs. You know, you can use your iPhone because you got pictures on. Everyone has pictures on their iPhones, so they can draw pictures from their iPhones. And so it's all around you. Everywhere you look, there's something to draw. And this is a good way to connect with what you see and how you put it on paper. And it's good practice. So there's going to be different ways. I'm going to go through each one. How we're doing. And right now, I said we can just draw. I'm just going to draw our hand right now. So I put my hand on and I have the sketch pad here. So I am putting my hand right here and just drawing that. Just as something to draw on your sketch pad, so you would have something to go from. So as you draw your hand, you can see that it's good practice to know that when you look at your hand, you're drawing your fingernails. You know, you're drawing the shape of your hand. You can even shade it. You know, it's already outlined. It's already done for you, and all you're doing is copying what you see on your knuckles, and then the fingernails. You know, And you might even notice something on your hand that you didn't notice before. Maybe you have a cut on there. Oh, why didn't I know how that cut, you know? So it's this kind of fun. And then but just kind of practice on drawing what's around you is what I want to get across. So my finger's a little crooked there. But so if you look at your hand, you can just copy what you see. The nail's coming here, it's coming looping around, and it's coming this way. And then it's kind of well, I got short fingernails. So it doesn't have to be perfect because this is just fun. And this is just practice. This is like what we're doing is practicing. So I didn't get my finger on the real good, so I'm gonna trace it again. So I got my ring here. Like I said, I just got married. So this is my ring. And then my little thing out here. So this is just kind of fun. Right now my arm is getting tired. And then you can draw, I don't know how much detail you want to go into it. You can do a lot of detail, you can do a little detail, just to indicate that there's folds there, there's lines here, there's this fold here coming across down here, it comes over on this side. And then you have another one come this way on my hand doing that. And then I have, if one goes through all these knuckles, you have lines here, and then you have, I have this finger coming across this way. So just like drawing in your sketchbook, I'm just drawing my hand right now, and you could draw even your finger going straight or bending. You know, if you want to draw your finger going straight, and this doesn't have to be perfect. Like I said, I'm just shaping. You know, you can practice how you see things. Practice making your hand go. We come here, kind of fold in. You know, but what I'm trying to do is encourage you to start using Sketchpad to start drawing things. So, you know, even your thumb, you could probably put your thumb here or just draw your thumb from a distance and just, you know. You know, it's just, like I said, it's a sketch pad that you can just practice on. You can even practice drawing my ring or whatever, but it's just having this sketch pad to use every day. And like I said, you can even use photographs. So I'm just drawing like a sketch pad here. And then if I wanted to draw, like I was drawing a picture, like I was looking at my dad here earlier. Okay, do that one again. So my dad, so if I wanted to draw my dad, it doesn't have to be perfect, like I said, but it's just practice, you know, that you want to do. So you want a picture of my dad here. Picture. Here's a picture of my dad. So if I want to just practice sketching on him, you know, I could draw his hat. You know, his hat is coming around here. You know, his face is coming around here, and it's just a way to help you practice your your face, and it's not gonna be perfect, like I said, but it's a good way to, that kind of goes straight up almost. It's just a good way to see, it's gonna be a little softer. I think it's kind of hard to see. Is it hard to see what I'm drawing? It's hard to see what I'm drawing? Okay, so like I said, I drew my hand, and this is just a tracing. But I just traced my hand, and then I came back, like I said, I just drew my fingers, held my hand up here and just drew it this way. And did the same thing with my finger here. Is that better? You can see that better?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, and then I just, like I said, and this is kind of straight this way. And this is just on my sketch pad, like I said. So with my hand, and my finger here. And then my finger here. But you can spend hours on this thing because there's a lot of detail on my fingers here. And so, I mean, you could draw the lines coming across here, 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 here. You got all these bones coming out here. You can start seeing bones. And that's part of the anatomy part. So, I mean, if you want to even go start shadowing it, you can just practice your shadowing, if you want to maybe make his hand face off the ground or something. And you can make that up if you want. But it's just sitting in there on your sketch pad, it's called like doodling, you're doodling, I mean, I could draw a picture of this thing on the pad. Like if I want to draw this pad, I could draw this pad and then draw this little square here and then draw the hand here, I'm drawing a picture of the hand I have here. That's on this paper here. And then I have the next one. So, I mean, I'm just doodling off a doodle, I'm just trying to make. So you see this little thing here, I drew, these are just the indicators of the pad. So I want to do that too. But see, I mean, doodling can be a kind of, of course, date your drawings too. Today is 1/4/2021. So think of it this way: every day you draw, you date your drawings just to remember what you did that day, and you come back and draw the same hand a year from now, and you'll see like, wow, from here to there, I came a long ways from this drawing, you know. But I'm trying to encourage you to draw from either from like my dad. I can draw my dad. So if I want to draw my dad, I'm using a photograph, you know. And I'm sure you have pictures of people on your phone, like cats or
I have my dog.
your what?
I only take pictures of my dog.
Your dog. Draw pictures of your dog. See, that's a good practice. Draw pictures of, and the pictures you take, you think about, well, when I take this picture, I plan to draw this picture of my dog when he's got a shoe in his mouth and he's walking around with it or something, you know. You want to think about the pictures you're going to take, you're going to draw, and that drawing of your dog doing whatever he's doing becomes like an art piece. And then you could practice, you know, a lot of photographers, they plan their art, they plan their pictures, you know, for like news, like for magazine covers, and they want to talk about an engine, or they want to talk about fashion. They plan their pictures to look like, or even food. You see people taking pictures of food to make it look good, right? So they're planning to make it look right or look good or look delicious on pictures. So those same pictures that you take of your dog, you could think of it that way, taking pictures that are planned out to know that you're going to be drawing this and it's going to look the way you want it to look. So I would get a picture of your dog right now and open it up on your phone and just draw them. And that'll be, I'm going to draw my dad while you draw your dog. And that's good practice. And every once in a while, just kind of, and use your sketchbook. So if you don't like how it's coming out, maybe go to the next page and draw it again. Or maybe you need to work on the eye more. If I needed to work on my dad's face, you know, like if I was going, see, this is not going to stay open, but see, I noticed that he has, when we talked about boxes. Remember I told you about boxes. So if I look at his face is kind of like a box in a way. I use boxes, and I kind of shape him out in the direction he's going, and his eyes are kind of going like this, you know, and his mouth is here, and he's got this thing coming down this way, you know, and then his eyes, he looks happy, you know, because it's his birthday, you know, and if I want to really spend a lot of time on this drawing, I could do that. But if I'm just trying to get the shape of him, his mouth open a little bit, I could practice on this. And he's got this chin, like he's got a double chin here. And he's got this little thing here on his neck. And then he's got this shirt coming kind of like that. And he's actually looking up, you know, and his hat is kind of going behind him. And he's got his hat that he's wearing. He's got his hair coming down to the side, his ears over here. You know, it's not a perfect drawing. I mean, just trying to get a shape. And it's practice drawing. So I can see that I have basic places where his face is at, you know. And if I want to start drawing more, then I can start coloring in his face a little more, so you can see that it's just part of, like, I can trace my hand and draw that. I could draw pictures, and these are part of sketchbooks, you know. Also, and a lot of times when I'm doing sketches, I might want to use his profile, and so I do a lot of this. I do a lot of, I make my own cards, and I like to draw. Sometimes I like to do a drawing that's probably, like I said, a picture of my dad. And I might say, you know, like it might be maybe wanting to see how this will look. So I might say, you know, like, happy birthday, Dad. You know, and then I'm thinking, well, this looks good. And then I could probably maybe do something that looks more like a card or something. And I'm trying to get an idea of what maybe how I want to arrange it, you know. Do I want his face over here? Maybe I want him turned around this way, you know. I want him to, maybe I want to, maybe happy birthday here. You know, it's just like you know, I'm thinking about shapes. I'm thinking about, you know, how I want him to be, you know. I don't know. I'm just like, these are ideals, like these are like notes and things that I play with to help me to do, to play with ideals. And sometimes sometimes you might just be alone and you're doing like little, you know, a lot of times I do these little squiggles like this. I do a lot of squiggles. When I'm sitting there, I'm on the phone, I'm doing these little squiggles, and I like to make feathers, you know. I like to make feathers, you know, like this, you know, and then I draw them in, you know. I draw them like, I just try to make them look like, I want them to look fun, you know, just kind of like, just, and then to me, this is scribbling, right? And so when I do little scribbles, I find myself, wow, that's kind of cool. So then I'll do maybe a new scribble, and I'll even make it look a little more tighter. So I'll draw the stem, and I want the stem to look right, and then I'll maybe draw a little slower, because I want this feather to look right. You know what I mean? And then I'm gonna add circles this time, just to make that look right. And these are still like scribbles. I don't know how it's gonna look. I just know that I could do something like this. And then what I did was, if you look behind you, you have this art piece. See this art piece here? I came up with that feather from just a drawing. I did drawings like this, and then I came up with a feather like this. And I thought it was really interesting because I wanted to add some blue dots to it. I thought, oh, the blue dots look kind of cool. So from a scribble to something final is something that we could, you know, perfect. And this is just by using your sketchbook to help you get ideas. So scribbling is good. That's part of testing your ideals. Testing your ideals is doing these little doodles and sketches. And if you want to, like I said, draw your dog, sometimes you want to draw your dog that looks more like a drawing than a photograph. So you might want to draw your dog. I don't know. I don't have any dogs, but if I had a dog here, I mean, I could probably put one up on the internet.
I drew my dog once.
Oh yeah. So that's your dog. What kind of dog is it? Like a Chihuahua or something?
Corgi Chihuahua mix.
See, I guessed it by your drawing, and you have the right look for the ears. So if you look up Chihuahuas, how you spell Chihuahuas?
CHI.
HUA.
HUA.
So if you go to Chihuahuas, you have little sketches like this, see? And then so you could have, what you could do is eventually, I'm going to get to this part too, you could get your Chihuahuas to be more fun. And so once you start getting the hang of how Chihuahuas are drawn, your sketches become more lifelike or more fun. They even have like little exercises here, how you can draw your Chihuahua with the ears and the face and the nose. and just kind of get you familiar with the shapes. And that's kind of sketching that you would be doing in your sketchbook by practicing those things. You know, like they say here, if you want to draw a circle, you're like this, and you have the ears. The ears are kind of big, you know, and then they have the mouth here, and then they have the little body, you know. And the tail, and then the feet. And that right there almost looks like a little chihuahua by itself without even adding anything. And so just getting the basic shapes, you would practice in your sketchbook these shapes, and then you can come back after you get the shapes of it, come back and put detail in his eyes, or is it a he or she?
She's a girl.
Oh, she's a girl. So you can start drawing her eyes, and then you can start drawing her nose and start putting her little chin and her feet, and just by doing the shapes. But when you look at your dog, try to look at your dog as a shape. Start as a shape first. Okay, you could even blur your eyes. I used to blur my eyes just to see the shape of the dog or shape of an item, and then take the blurriness out of your eye, and then look at the dog really clear, and then you can start seeing detail on the nose and the eyes and the ears, and how, you know, the ears usually are caved in, caved in a little bit, like a concave. And then another thing, in order and that would help you sketch, it's okay to find another Chihuahua or a picture. Like I said, your pictures, you can copy your dog, copy a picture of your dog, or copy other artists that might be an artist you like. You might see a cartoon. I noticed that some of our youth used to come here and they draw anime. People used to draw anime. You know what I mean? The anime characters. Yeah, they did a lot of anime, and they used to copy their art, but they would always kind of change, maybe do a new background or something on it, and make it their own in a sense. But at the same time, copy and help them get better at their drawing. Do you have anime drawings? Do you do anime?
No, but I did go on the internet once and drew a fox.
Oh, nice. And it stopped and turned around and looked at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that. And you get the shadows there too.
Yeah. I also drew me.
A self-portrait?
Yeah.
Oh, and you had a Dreamcatcher shirt on?
I don't actually own one.
Uh-huh.
I just thought this, I actually drew myself a second time and it looked better.
Uh-huh.
But it was on, like, this is a separate sketchbook than the sketchbook that you gave me, which is this one, which I'm using now.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like when I'm like drawing in separate times, like when I'm inspired, or like when I was at the doctor's office before COVID.
Right.
A thing.
Right.
Like I used to do really, really wonky drawings. And
that's okay. That's where the difference between you and somebody else that's not doing it is that you're doing it.
Yeah.
That's the best, to me, that's the key. You know, I used to go to art shows and walk around, and I would hear people making comments, oh, I could do that better, or that's an ugly drawing, or what is that, And I'm thinking to myself, the difference between you and them is that they're doing it. They're putting effort and time into that painting or that drawing, and they're creating something from nothing, You have something else to share?
This is from when I was like really, really wonky drawing.
Oh, nice. Is that like a
It's
fan?
it's a fantasy horse.
What do they call those?
It's like an alicorn or something.
Unicorn.
It's got wings.
Oh,
So
yeah.
probably it would be an alicorn.
Yeah. Oh, okay. You know, that's exactly what I'm trying to do, is encourage you to keep using your sketchbook and to keep your ideals going, because that's like a drawing board.
Yeah.
You know, in meetings, they have people that do what they call storyboarding. They do storyboards, and they brainstorm on the wall. You know, this is where we want to go with this. I even gone to conferences where they would have people with a big pad, and they would try and figure out what they would do if they wanted a perfect community, the perfect world. What would you have in your perfect world or your perfect community for the natives or for any other race? And they would have like 8 people sitting in a circle talking about, well, we need a hospital, we need roads, we need food, we need people who understand how to help people. You know, all these things that they made a list of. They actually did the drawing on this paper, and they made all these comments. And that there is the same thing as drawing on your sketch pad. You're still putting ideals on paper to kind of help you think, well, I need to, you know, work more on my anatomy. I need to work more on my understanding of how something is maybe causing it to look more real, like shadowing, shadowing or shapes, like we talked about, helps you understand it. I still go to school when I can, and I still learn from other artists, and I'm always trying to learn more from a teacher I had. And I remember him telling me that if you wanted to make an arm look right, he said that you can make circles like your fingers. You know, I was telling you about when I drew the fingers, you know, if I drew my finger, you know, like this, you know, across like this. So what he said that, you know, if you make a circle like that, you kind of get the shape of a circle. Your hand is kind of a circle, you know, if you think about it, it's a circle. So when he told me about using like circles to make something look rounder, I thought, well, that's kind of cool, because it looks more like a, you know, like that fingernail, because it looks more like a shape. And then they also told me that if I wanted to make this like a box, you know, make it like 3 pieces, like draw the squares, you know, like that, you know. I could shape it to where it has a shape. You know, you kind of do the box look, you know, and it looks more like a box, kind of a box shape. So he was showing me, and those kind of things I still try and learn, and then I try to do it myself on a sketch pad or my little or my class or whatever I'm drawing on. So and then the next thing I want to say is that when you draw on your sketch pad, try different mediums. Like try crayon once in a while. Try markers. Try some. Try like we did last week. We did the New Year 2021. We actually did the line work and we used color. So sometimes color makes a whole lot of difference in some of the things that we do. Also use, like I'm using charcoal right now. And charcoal is kind of nice because it blends. It's kind of nice, you know, shading. You want to practice on your shading to make it look more rounded or softer. Like if I draw, there's a gourd over there. If I do a gourd, you know, you know, draw a gourd, and the shading that you do helps it look more real, you know. So you can practice on your shading even while you're waiting, you know. Shading is a really big part of how things look right, you know. I love shading. I mean, I kind of, over the years, I perfected shading a little bit for me to work to where, hey, that's pretty good, you know. And then you know how to put pressure on your pencil, make it look right. And you could just know that this looks right, you know, in your eyes. As long as it looks right to you, and then of course you want to draw your little shadow here and make it look kind of right. So that, and trying new mediums, like I did charcoal. I've been doing pencil. I'm doing charcoal right now because it's darker. I have this Conte. Conte is another medium that we used to use in our class. It's like an orange stick. I think you have this, the orange stick. And this is like a charcoal too. You know, it's a soft. If you can practice with this even, and do some of your drawings, just do the brown stick, and then you know, see how it works. You know, like if I do it over here, if I do it over this picture that I drew, you know. But practice on that too. And then there's that stick I gave you. The stick right here. Yeah, that stick is for shading. It's for blending. See how soft it makes it? So you can draw. And help it to shade. And that's what that's for. That's what this is for. So this is a really nice tool to have to play around with and to check it out and see what we can do with it. There's also a way you can do things like on your sketch pad if you want to maybe if you wanted to cut, say you wanted to cut some of this out, and then you can stick it on your sketch pad. Like if I wanted to, I'm gonna try and see if I can get something to cut with real quick here. I did this last week. And if I wanted to, we did this drawing last week of these people, and you could draw and then some of the drawings you do, you could always, you know, like your drawings, cut them out, Zenobia, drawings and cut them out, and you can actually just paste it on your artwork, you know. And then you could have like a collection of finished artwork that you paste on your sketch pad, which is kind of another way to look at it, you know. It's just making your sketch pad look fun and interesting. And you can tell stories, you know. This is what I did when I went to, you know, went to visit my aunt. We sat around they sat around the porch talking, and I drew a picture of them sitting around talking. And then you have that memory in your sketch pad. A lot of people do journals, you know, people write things down every day. They write about their lives, or especially guys in service, you know, they're in the Army, they're away from family and they're writing maybe to their girlfriends or to their wives, and they're telling what it's like around them. And there's a lot of fighting going on. There's no fighting. We're just waiting to see where I go next. And those stories that they tell could also be interpreted into drawings. You know, this is where I stayed. I stayed at this tent. You can see the tent I lived in, and it was green and it was square and it was cold. You know, you can make it feel cold. Maybe use some cool colors. But you know, they're telling a story, but they're telling a story through their art. And there's a lot of artists that do that. This guy named what was his name? He was an old Western photographer, and he took a lot of pictures of Native Americans in the past, and he told a story about them. You know, he told you what tribe they were, you know, where they were living. So he told a story with his photographs, and he tells stories. You know, like this one. Oh, what's this? If you go, let's say one of the images. Like the Museum of Art, they do a lot of stories. If you look at back then in those days of primitive times, you know, they had these stories on walls, and they couldn't tell it in words, but they could tell you by what was going on around them. They had like, either in this case, it looked like they had people doing things together. This is like a religious story. You know, you see this story here, and it's talking about carrying a cross. But there's stories throughout our history that tell stories of people gathering together and taking note of what they were doing back then. And they go by what they see, and they see colors that they use, and maybe they didn't have all the nice color pencils and things that we use today, but they were able to still tell the story. You know, so I would encourage you to try different mediums. Like I said, try the charcoal, try the crayons, use your crayons once in a while. I'm sure you have crayons too, right? Crayons are fun. Markers, watercolor, acrylics, you know, there's all kind of stuff to use. People use, I think it was some artists used to do cutouts. I can't think it was Matisse. I think it was Matisse used to use cutouts for his art. And he really got famous for his cutout art. And they even have classes. I mean, not classes, but yeah, classes. Like you can go to a class and learn how to do cutout art, and it tells a story. So every picture tells a story, you know, if you've heard that song before. So that is another way. And then someone suggested you can draw frames. This one guy, he did a movie. He would go to a movie, like a cartoon, and just stop it and then draw the frames of different parts of the movie, like the cartoons. So if you're telling a story, you can draw the different frames that happen, you know, that they're running to the store and they get to the store, they're at the store, they leave the store, they go back home, and all these frames have the different sequences of what they did throughout that day. So those are like storyboards. And those are something that I've never done. I've tried to do those before, but and then like we talked about, you picked an animal, your dog, to draw from, draw from. You could do the same thing with other animals too. Do you have other animals around the house? Do you have like,
We have turtles.
have you drawn your turtle yet? Have
Tortoise.
you drawn your turtle?
No.
So draw your turtle and then look at turtles on the internet and how they see how other people drew them. And then you can get an idea of the turtle that you have in your yard. You could draw that turtle and color it any way you want. You can color it purple. It's your turtle. You can draw whatever you want. That's one thing about an artist that we see. They could do whatever they want. You've seen Picasso's drawing. I don't know if you know who Pablo Picasso is. You know who he is? He drew some really kind of strange art, cubism art, and it was kind of weird. He'd do both eyes on the same side of your face, like, you know what I mean? Like he would draw a box, maybe like that, and then have both eyes on the same side and the mouth, it was just kind of, just kind of different, and maybe the hair, it would be what he wanted. I could draw, if I drew you, I would draw your face, with your hair parted in the middle and down, and you have this little thing there and here. And then you have your eyes and nose, and you have your mouth. And that's Synovia, right? I mean, so we can have anything we want. And if you want to, I could draw your hand, like that, so it's just drawing that right there. If you take a snapshot of that picture right there where you're at, like that, if you can take a picture of yourself just like you are right now, draw that, that's a good picture. That's a picture of thinking or watching, but just the little things that you do can create anything you want. It's up to you. So once you get good at something, like I did that feather, I did that feather because I've done it so many times. I've done the feather so many times that I can play with it. I can have fun with it. It just becomes more of I can draw it in any direction. I can draw it in any shape or form. I could draw I even did fat feathers, like this is a real fat feather, So you can draw any way you want, you can draw. These are just like examples of, because you know how to draw something, you could exaggerate that. And the eye, yeah. The eye is very fun to draw too. If you look at the eye and if you study go online and look at the anatomy of an eyeball and draw it, you will see that the eye has that little lip down here. It has a little bitty ridge there, and it has a little drop here, and it comes around, but inside here is a ball. Your eyeball is a round ball. So what you're trying to do here is draw this eye to look like a ball. I mean, you know what I mean? Just make it look like a shape, like a ball, inside the eyeball. So you have this eye that's bigger than this, but you have this shape of an eyeball coming down, and then you have this other lip on top, like you were doing, and it's always a shadow because there's a light, it's coming from the top and causing this shadow on top. You always have a light above you. And then if you look closer to the eye, that has little pupil here, and it has these lines, coming back and forth. If you study the eye, take a look at some of the eyes and look at the detail of it. And you go, oh wow, I didn't see that before. And then you could draw that eyeball to look just like it's real. So take that. Even draw your own eye. Take a picture of your eye and snap it, and then look at it on your phone, and then draw a picture of your own eye. Yeah, you could do that. So those are the kind of things I've been wanting to kind of talk about draw from life, do sketchy things like I'm sketching here, then just scribble, like this is a scribble. I mean, even just practice, like if you practice like just lines, like I was telling you before, you know, sometimes you want to just practice how to draw something. Like you're maybe you're trying to draw, if you're trying to draw this circle here and you want to make this kind of this shape out of lines, you know, and you want to use lines and you're trying to practice that. So also there was a one time I did, and this is not cheating. Sometimes I'm gonna add into the stuff that I want to send out to everybody. I want to add tracing paper. And tracing paper, you know what I mean? You can get tracing paper and you put it over your picture and you can draw things, you know, trace it onto your paper. But I want you to trace some, like your, what is that? Oh, that looks like it's an animal, of course, right? I'm trying to
It's
think
a
of the animal.
fantasy animal.
Oh,
Kind of.
yeah, yeah. I like it.
It's
Big eye.
Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh, okay. Well, animal art too is good because animal art, they take a lot of anatomy from humans and animals and they kind of mix them together. So you're seeing that maybe someone with, I don't know, what is it? Sagittarius, that guy's on a horse. He's actually a horse and a man. So it's a man and a horse. But yeah, if you want to draw from, like I said, from photographs and practice copying something, that's okay because you're practicing technique and you're practicing how people do things. So what I want to do is send these tracing papers out to everybody so they can actually trace their favorite artists. Like you can get a picture of your, maybe get a picture of your dog and just trace it on a paper and then just fill it in, you know, that way you can get the perfect, not the perfect, but a likeness of what you're drawing and then fill it in to make it look real. And that's practice. And then you can start doing that by just looking at your dog and figure out, well, this is how I enjoyed drawing my dog. And then you can also trace, we used to trace line art from other artists back in the like 1600s or whatever, and get their idea of how they drew their arms and legs and head shape and their hair. Their hair was all kind of swirly, you know. I mean, it was just kind of like, you know, just kind of hair just going all over the place, you know, like a beard. Sometimes like the old masters, they drew their beards with a lot of curls in it, you know. So, and it was all shapes. So take a look at some old drawings. Take some pictures of your Chihuahua. See how other people drew Chihuahuas, and that way it can help you get your drawings to look a little nicer. And like I said, it's just practice. And these pictures that you draw on your sketch pad are doodles. They're like tests. They're just practice, and they don't have to be perfect. But as you go, the more time you put into it, if you can draw something every day, next week I'll see, this will be your homework. Draw something, at least one thing a day, and I'll draw something once a day, and we'll share it next week on our sketch pads, okay? So for today, that's hopefully that helps you to get more encouraged to draw in your sketch pad and do more. And like I said, try different colors, try different mediums, and I'm gonna do the same. This is what you're making me do too. Also, I'm gonna do it with you. Okay. You have something else?
This is what I've drawn so far.
Oh, from today?
Yes.
This is on your new sketch pad. All right. And make sure you date it, today's date. Today is January 4th. So we're going to take record of that. And I'll do the same. So with that, I hope you guys had a happy new year, and everything went well. You had fun with family, and hopefully you got to talk with some friends, and you made some, I don't know, people make resolutions. This year, I'm going to eat healthier. This year, I'm going to run more. This year, I'm going to draw more. I think what I want to do is spend more time drawing too, and thinking about what I want to do when I retire. You know, I want to be able to spend more time getting good enough at what I like to do to make a living out of it. You know, that would be great. But with that, just stay healthy, eat right, and be kind to people. Be kind and enjoy, and maybe help somebody if I can. You know, that would be good. Anyway, tomorrow we have Cooking Matters. I'm not sure what she's making again. I should know what she's making, but it's always delicious. It's at 3 to 4 with Cooking Matters with Caroline. And then we have Richard DeCrane after that. We are going to start some new things coming in January. So we'll have a new schedule. When you pick up, I'll have the bag ready for you again to pick up some stuff, and Caroline will have some more stuff for you guys to pick up. And I'll throw in some tracing paper in there. I still got to order that. And then I'll also put in a calendar of some of the things we got coming up so you can check it out. And we are going to do like a new thing coming up Friday. This Friday, we're going to be doing what they call Let's Get Crafty. Let's Get Crafty means like we're going to find a project that we can all do together. So if you could think of anything that you would like to do, you could always mention it to us and let us know. Send us an email or a text. Do you have an idea of what you might like to do? Yeah. So we're going to do a lot of that thinking for you. We'll think of something, but it's going to be something that you'll enjoy doing. I mean, I'm thinking about making little teepees, you know, little craft teepees, which are kind of cool because you can paint them and you can, you know, they're little displays. So I might do that on my craft teepee. So Carolina is going to do one Friday, and I'll do the next Friday, and then we'll go back and forth on Fridays. So she'll do something, and I'll do something. So it's a new year. You know, we got a lot of plans to do. Kind of get on, kind of use our imaginations to find things to do to stay connected with you, with everyone out there. And I hope you will join us in doing that. And we got a lot of good things in store. So enjoy the rest of your day. Keep drawing. Remember, one picture a day, and I'll come back and I'll have something for you that I drew too. That I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to try to draw what's around me, what's in my area, and maybe tell you how I went about it, whatever. So keep that up, and thanks for joining us. And we'll see you next week. And we'll continue on the Sketchpad and hopefully something else. All right. Have a good weekend. Have a good week.
Do we have something to pick up?
You will. I think, are you on the same list that Carolina drops things off for you too, right? You pick up stuff from Carolina, crafts? Yeah. So it'll be that. That's what she'll have.
Okay.
And then she'll contact you guys through email or text. I think probably through email. Let you know when they're ready. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Take care. Have a good day. And we'll do this again next week. All right. Bye. Let's see. And I'm going to stop.